All right, so if you're seeing this video, you're probably thinking about getting on TRT, testosterone replacement therapy. And um, if you want the short and sweet of it, it's most likely that you should get on TRT, most likely. But in order to know for sure, you should certainly consult with a doctor and obviously stay to the end of this video because I'm going to be mentioning some things that you may be experiencing that will kind of give you some proof positive that you should or should not consider getting on TRT. So I'm going to give you a little backstory here. I started TRT 2 years ago at the age of 30 years old, which in most people's book is pretty young to start taking testosterone. And I understood that. However, I had been experiencing a lot of things that I felt TRT could help with. First and foremost, I started getting really bad sleep apnea. And so much so, I went to the doctor, was fully diagnosed with sleep apnea. They put me on a CPAP machine. And one thing I'll say is the reason I even got to that point is because I started getting really sleepy during the day. Like I would be driving and dozing off. And at this time, honestly, guys, I wasn't in terrible shape. I was lighter than I am right now. I was working out consistently, but I was starting to really like doze off during the day. I didn't have any energy for my workouts. I didn't have a very high sex drive at all. And I just really wasn't feeling as much of a man as I used to, if I'm being totally honest with you guys and vulnerable with you guys. And so I knew part of the reason was my sleep quality was terrible. I would just wake up exhausted. And so I went to the doctor, did a sleep study. They said, hey, you have sleep apnea. We're going to go ahead and get you on a CPAP machine. I was very apprehensive about that because I'm the type of guy who doesn't want to rely on medications, especially something that is expected for you to have to do for pretty much the rest of your life, right? And then even as much as taking it to travel has been difficult as well. I've had several trips over the last couple of years where I forgot it. I just, it's just not something I remember to pack. And my sleep quality on those trips was absolutely terrible. And then I've had trips where I remembered and it was fantastic, right? So I started on the CPAP and instantly, like literally the next day, within the first week, whatever you want to say, I got so much better sleep quality. I felt so much better during the day. It was like a night and day difference. And although it was a night and day difference, I still was not feeling exactly the way I wanted to on a day to day basis. And so, although, like I said, it did help with some things, there was other things like my performance in the gym, my sex drive, um, that feel good in your brain, like you're walking around happy, excited, things like that. Those I still did not have from the CPAP machine alone. So I said, all right, I'm going to go to a urologist and I'm going to get my testosterone checked. And it turned out my testosterone was like in the 300s, which for a man that's 30 years old, that's really low. That's really low. And couldn't really explain exactly why and whatnot. But at the end of the day, it was low. So the doctor prescribed TRT for me. So I take it every 2 weeks. I take a shot every 2 weeks for it. And it has been a total game changer. When I tell you guys that testosterone is the life force of every man, I am not joking. Testosterone is the life force of every man. You can look up studies, statistics, stories of men who have been down, depressed, wanting to self delete, all of this stuff. And then they get on TRT and magically they become the happiest person in the room. And that is because testosterone is a man's life force. Without proper levels of testosterone, we start to not perform the way that we should in our day to day lives. And it definitely interrupts our brain and our mood and our hormones. And it's just a recipe for disaster. And we could go along and talk about all the things in our society and our food and our water and everything that is making our testosterone levels drop. But at the end of the day, some of those things we can impact and adjust, some of them we simply cannot. So if you're feeling any of those things that I described, it may be worth going to see a doctor to talk about TRT, regardless of what age you are. Because my whole thing was, I want to be able to perform at the level that I need to each and every day, especially in these crucial years in my life. You know, at 30 years old, 2 years ago, I'm thinking, man, without this TRT, my life is over, right? Can't perform in the gym, can't perform in the bedroom, not feeling myself, having negative thoughts. It's just a recipe for disaster. So, guys, in my opinion, obviously seek a medical professional for your specific situation. But in my opinion, if you're feeling any of the things that I talked about or a combination of them, it is certainly worth having a conversation. And don't be ashamed to do it, because I can guarantee you the men around you right now that are super hyped up, are loving life, that are lifting heavy in the gym, who are doing all this crazy stuff, if you just simply ask them, they will probably tell you that they're on TRT. And that's just the reality of the world that we live in right now. So if you enjoyed this video, if you like health, fitness videos, mindset videos, money videos, things like that, this is a channel you're going to want to stay tuned to. So do me a favor, subscribe, leave a like, turn the bell icon on so you can be notified every time I upload a video, and I'll see you in the next one.